I just think to live every day the best you can is the best way to do it.
Greetings, I'm Dr. Taylor Temnick, and I'm sitting here today with one of our patients, Miss Doris. We're going to talk to Miss Doris a little bit about her life and what her experiences have been and how she has attained everything that she has. So welcome, Miss Doris. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and start off. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, right now I'm 98 years old. I'll be 99 in January of 24. And I can't believe I'm this old, to tell you the truth, but here I am.
What surprises do you have when you think about how you're 98 and how you will be 99?
I don't know where the time went. It just seems like all of a sudden I'm here.
Yeah.
But some days are long, but when you think how fast the year's going and time is going, I think, well, I better step up and do what I need to do pretty quick.
Tell me a little bit about your family. Do people in your family live very long?
My parents lived in Ohio. My father was born in Austria, and he came over to the States when he was 3 years old. And my mother's from Ohio, and I was born in Mansfield, Ohio in 1925. And my parents mother lived to be almost 83. My dad lived to be 90. I have one sister older than I am, 3 years older, and she lived to be 95. And I never thought I'd live this long.
Why do you say that?
But I'm still here.
So when you think about your age right now and what you've accomplished, what surprises you or what makes you think, how did I get here?
Well, I had to use a little common sense along the way because I always had a weight problem. I loved spaghetti and macaroni and cheese and all those goodies. And after going through Weight Watchers twice, I decided that's enough. I got to stop doing that. So I have a good memory. I remember just how it tastes, so I don't have to eat it anymore. That's my story on that one.
So when you put into practice what you learned from Weight Watchers, and when you're trying to eat, do you eat with the intention of being healthy, or do you?
I do now. I eat like every day. I have a really little ice cream cone. That's my treat to myself every day. I look forward to it, and I'm not going to ever give it up. But I've been able to keep my weight level now.
Do you try to focus on fruits and vegetables, or what is your strategy besides the ice cream?
Yeah. Well, I eat pretty much the same thing every day. I have a half a bagel with honey and cinnamon in the morning. And I have an egg, a piece of bread, or maybe peanut butter for lunch, and the ice cream. That's my treat. And then at dinner time, I have either chicken or fish and vegetable, and usually applesauce.
Oh, that's a good one.
These are things that I don't drive anymore, of course, and my daughter takes me to the store, and so I try to buy things that I can keep in the freezer. And I don't cook much anymore. And now with prepared foods, it's pretty easy to live alone and take care of yourself. And so I get a lot of frozen foods and veggies, and I have applesauce usually, or pineapple or something like that every day. But that's about it. And then I have sugar-free popsicles sometimes for a treat.
Now that's a good one too. But I like that it's sugar-free. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What does a day in your life look like? How do you start the day? How do you get through it and unwind?
Well, there for a while I was sewing. I learned. I've taken classes in cake decorating. I've done that. I worked in a bakery for just a few weeks till I was going to another job, and I had a little free time, and they'd advertised for a cake decorator in Bradenton. This is where I was living in Florida, and it was out on the beach. And so I went out and I said, I can work just so long if you need me. Well, they took me. So I worked there. It was fun.
Amazing.
I enjoyed that. And, but you know, in Florida, the air is so moist, it's kind of hard. You have to really be in air conditioning.
Yeah.
And now, of course, I couldn't do it because everything's different. On my 95th birthday, my daughter gave me a party. And on the birthday cake, they had my pictures from childhood through the wedding, through everything. Now, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But back when we made flowers and things, you know, like normal people, well, then I can do that. And I took sewing lessons, and I found out that, well, I still use a 1948 Singer sewing machine, straight stitch. I had a heck of a time getting a new cord for it, but I finally found somebody that could do that for me.
That's amazing.
So I can still use that, but it's getting less and less
Yeah.
that I'm doing. See, my eyes water too. That's another thing of what.
Can I get you a tissue?
Yeah. And so then I found out that by using felt, you don't have to. The edges are already, you know, they're complete. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And so I made. One day I went to Walmart in my late 80s, and I bought a gift card, and I said, well, I'd like to have an envelope. And she said, we don't have any, I can't find any. So I went home and I thought, well, I'll either have to make an envelope or do something. And so I got the felt, and I started making little little pouches that would just fit a gift card would just fit in. Well, Michael's back then, you could buy all kinds of cute stuff, and I went in there and went ape with buying stuff. And I went home and I had a ball making all these little things, and then I did flea market, or not flea market, craft shows.
Yeah.
And but then, and I did quite well, but they charged so much for space that I'd have to work a year just to break even, But that was fun. And then my daughter married an artist. I mean, he is so good. He made his living in art. I mean,
wow.
He's a really pro. And so one day I kept saying, oh, you should give lessons, you're so good. And no, he says, I wouldn't do that. And so he says, here, draw a leaf. And he went walking with my daughter around, or we live in a circle. And he came back and I had the leaf drawn. He says, you did that? And I said, yeah, it's a leaf. And he said, did you ever take art before? And I said, well, yeah, in junior high school.
Oh my God.
Took 2 years of it. And I said, I did pretty well, but they graded by the curve. So, nobody was that good. So he says, well, now I'll show you. And so he has started me out, and I'm doing art now.
That's amazing.
He's tried to teach watercolor. So let me tell you, that's not my thing.
I understand.
And so I was looking at a catalog one day, and they had colored pencils, and they said, if you add water, and I thought I could control that. So I sent for the pencils, and I started drawing, and I thought, I don't need the water. So I just stuck with the pencils. And he's such a good teacher.
That's amazing.
So that's what I'm doing now.
As you go through your day-to-day, do you spend any time doing physical activity?
Yes, I get up in the morning and I have a little step machine. Not one of these big ones, but it's a little step machine. And it doesn't look like you're doing anything, but let me tell you, after half an hour, you've been working on that machine. I do that every morning. I have to do that, or I don't think I'd be walking.
Really?
Yeah, because I have, my feet are numb and my circulation isn't good, but I just think that, stirs it. And then after I fell in April, and I came to see Dr. Imani. He says, well, you need to strengthen your arms and your legs, because when I fell, I couldn't get back up, you know.
And that's scary.
And so usually I could get on my knees and get up. Well, I couldn't do it. And so I sent for, with our insurance, you can send for things. And it said rubber bands, you know. I thought, so I sent for that. It comes in a big roll,
Yes.
and you just cut off what you want. And so I do this, you know, and with my feet.
That's excellent.
So I'm pushing and pulling at the same time.
That's
And I
excellent.
can do that when I'm watching TV, see.
Do you feel a difference now that you've been doing those pushing and pulling
Well,
exercises?
I still have the little trouble with balance. And I read somewhere if you get on your tiptoes for so many times, so I do that too.
That's important though.
Yeah, and I do that. I try to stoop, but I hold on,
Yeah.
and I'll never get down to where I should, but it's just a little bit, you can
Yeah.
feel it. But I think something's better than nothing. I'll
Always.
never be, you know, like it was. But I do what I can do
What did you do for a living?
as an RN.
You are a registered nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did being a nurse impact your life at all, or did it impact your day-to-day decisions?
Not really.
No.
No. It was, to me, just work. I enjoyed, you know, I liked it, but I didn't, that wasn't my life,
Yeah.
really. It's, you know, I tried to find things.
How important have friendships and relationships been in your life?
Very important, but I want to tell you something. If you depend on other people for happiness, good luck.
Yep.
Because you have to find your own happiness. And by taking classes and getting out and being with other people, and it just, but I never got really close except one friend in Columbus, Indiana, because I grew up in Columbus, Indiana, which was a little town then. And we lived around the corner from each other. And that's how I got to know her, because we'd walk to school and back together. And now she has Alzheimer's. So, and not expected, you know, but she's really, if you have one good friend in your life, you're lucky.
That's all you need.
And I was lucky. But I have a lot of really nice neighbors and acquaintances and people, but I don't get too close because they might know the real me. This way we're always friends, see?
I like that
Just don't
strategy.
get too close.
Oh, so fun.
But I mean, what's wrong with a smile? And you know,
Yeah.
they have problems with each other and they'll tell me, and I say, well, they're always nice to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to fight their battles for them. You know, if they have differences, that's their problem. It's not, I'm not going to make it mine.
What are your thoughts on setting boundaries? Not just, you know, in relationships, but also boundaries like eating, portion control, and eating right. What are your thoughts on boundaries?
Again, it's common sense.
Yeah.
Just do things that aren't off the wall. Just think about it, and does that make sense or not? And if it doesn't, don't. It's that simple. You know, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on getting good sleep? Is sleep an important thing that you've learned about over the years?
Well, the thing of it is now, since I'm not working, I don't worry about it. But when I used to have to go to work, I worried about it.
Yeah.
Which kept you awake.
Right, even longer.
Yeah. And working nights was even worse.
Tough.
But I didn't always work nights, but when I did, that was a problem. Now, I sometimes have trouble sleeping because your mind, when you get this old, which I thought you'd forget everything, I'm remembering everything, and I want to forget it. I lived through it once, I don't want to go through it again. Once was enough. And so, sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Then I just get up and read or turn on TV or do something else till I get sleepy.
Yeah.
But during the day, if I'm sleepy, I can take a nap. You know, it's no big deal. So that doesn't worry me anymore.
Right. Have you ever thought you know, in the last 10 years, in the last 20 years, did you ever think, oh, I need to do X, Y, and Z so that I can live longer?
No. I never thought that far ahead, really,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth. I just tried to keep my weight down and live day by day. You know, I just didn't, well, I never thought I'd live this long.
Right.
You know, I just don't think that far ahead.
How would you say that in your life you experienced a lot of worry? Or is that kind of a moderation thing, where if you're living in the present moment,
Yeah.
you don't really worry about what's to come?
My mother worried so much I never had to.
I understand that.
Really. She worried about everything. I said, Mom, what good is it to worry? Does it help anything? No. But then why do it? I don't know. So I just never, when I look back, I think, why wasn't I more worried about something that, you know, when I think back, I should have been. Maybe I was naive. I guess I was.
Maybe that helped you.
Yeah. But I think it helped me not to worry about the future, and I just try to get through every day the best you can. And you know, you have to look ahead some to know what to plan for, but I mean, just to dwell on it, I never did that.
Do you have any additional goals for yourself? Anything you want to accomplish?
Not really. I just want to make people happy. I just think if I can make somebody smile, and you know, being heavy, you learn to laugh at yourself before other people laugh at you, and you develop a sense of humor that way. So I was laughing with them instead of them laughing at me, you see?
I have a hard time believing that you had any weight issues.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
That is so funny. Well,
I mean, I wasn't like this,
right.
but I was just too heavy, you know, for
your frame.
Yeah.
Any tips that you want to share with Dr. Yamani or with any of our providers?
Well, I'd have to have time to think about that one.
I
but,
understand.
I just think to live every day the best you can is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And not worry about everything, about every bite you eat. I mean, just, you know what's healthy and what isn't. You know I know when I'm eating ice cream, I shouldn't be doing it, but I do it one little bit a day. I have to have it.
But then you look forward to it, so
That's
there's
it.
a reward.
And I don't drink milk, and I think, one doctor said, because I said, you know, I have such a time controlling ice cream, and he says, well, you don't drink milk, maybe you need it. And I said, hey, I don't need encouragement here.
That will start you on a milkshake.
Yeah. That's it.
I don't need encouragement.
That's true. So that's it.
That's a good one. All right. Well, Miss Doris, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Yeah.
We appreciate everything you've
I'm
done.
glad you're laughing with me.
Listen, you are who. This has been wonderful. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Oh, I hope so. With any luck at all.